What's the time, sir?
2:33.
2:33. Okay. We've got about 15 minutes to go. So we're now up to the part where we've kind of covered what's led up to the genocide. What are the in-house factors there? And we've covered, I guess, how the media has perpetuated and what its role was in this. Now, just for the end of this lesson here, I've printed out 3 timelines which basically summarise everything that we've covered so far. So when we come back Monday, Tuesday, I'm not sure which class is on, we're going to be looking at the international response, and we're going to be looking at the American response in the United Nations and how the world responded to this. Do you remember from the movie? We got a glimpse of it in the movie. So how did America respond to this initially? Well, they cared about someone. Yeah. They cared about their own. Now, that does a really good job of showing how the rest of the countries that were involved in this also responded. So there was an international response, and that international response almost excluded all Rwandans from there, and like what they were prepared to, the sphere of what they were prepared to get involved with. So I've got here, I want to spend the last 10 minutes using this. I'd like you to have a look over it. I've only got 3, so share it with whoever you're sitting with, and create a timeline in your book. And I think this is going to be a really helpful way of wrapping up everything that we've got up to so far. So I'll come around and hand this one out. So use a whole page to turn the book on the side. I don't mind how this looks. But basically, we want to jot down every event. So I want to be able to come back on Monday and just shoot off questions like what happened on this date, and you'll be able to repeat that one back to me. That's what we want to get from this next 10 minutes right now. Do you boys want to share one? Yeah, take a photo. That might be easier. Sorry, I should have made more. My apologies. Yeah, start from. Everything here is important. This was a few lessons ago what we were covering back here. And if you think these are important, put them down. What I want is I need you to be able to understand for the 100 years leading up to it, who are the actors involved. So you need to be able to tell me the German and Belgian involvement in this story, particularly then how that shifts in 1959.
I literally got it all. Yeah.
How'd you go?
Yeah.
Did you have a panorama?
Yeah, I did.
Nice.
It's a bit wavy, but.
Oh, another little thing I took from that video there was we mentioned that the Hutus were referring to the Tutsis as cockroaches. Did anyone pick up on the fact that he said, I've referred to that as a dehumanizing effect? The presenter there actually referred to that as a way of absolving guilt. So, and if I can internalize this to any extent at all, it's that you don't feel too guilty about killing a cockroach, do you? I'll speak for myself, I won't speak for anyone here. And that's my very small way of internalizing how atrocities as this can be played out. So it was an intentional effort to absolve Hutus, or probably more specifically the Inter-Rwanda, absolve them of the guilt that Inhumans would experience. Just a little post-genocide as well. McKinley, do you remember where the presenter said all the refugees left to? Which country? they all left to the Congo, which, let's see if we got the map back up. I'll jump back a few slides. This is a little bit post, but I did. Alright, so you got the Congo here on the left. The Congo is a huge country. That was formerly Zaire, if you've heard that word before. So the refugees, I think it was in the millions of refugees fled there. It was only 3 years later, 2 or 3 years later, that the Rwandan government actually then entered the Congo to track down what was then labelled as war criminals. So this war did not end. The conflict here actually doesn't end at the end of this genocide. It takes. So you might need to fact check me on this one. I don't have the data in front of me.
That's right.
Yeah. This doesn't end at this point. That's just a broader scope. That's not specific to what we're learning today.
When was it in Congo?
Early
Got me on
90s.
this one.
Do you mind looking that up for us, Mr. Cab?
Yeah, that's it's a new one to me.
1504.
Maybe 97.
97. Okay, so it was after the invasion.
Yep.
Okay. So that tells us there that this map is actually, that's a map that's been produced after 97. And I knew that, not from research, I knew that because my parents lived there.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then had to flee the Australian government.
Wow. What year?
Got them out. Before I was born, so I was 93, so yeah, it would be in early 90s. They were there in the year or two before I was born.
That's crazy.